All right, thank you very much for everybody in this call. I'm here to present about this Sitecore module put together this year by myself in the name of Niche Tech, which is, the Sitecore IoT Hub module. So I'll bring here some useful info about the concept of IoT, what it is, and how that can be used along with Sitecore for marketer campaigns and other things. Okay. Yeah, so feel free to check this article in Niche Tech blog system. It's a blog from October about the module, telling how it works and the concepts and where you can download and how you can install it. Okay. Trying to catch up here with all those windows open. All right, so let me get started here with the following question. Why would you need it? Okay, why would you need in Sitecore an experience platform, something that can integrate with IoT stuff? Why? That's the key for hybrid, physical and digital applications. Currently, as you know, Sitecore is very centric in the digital world. Of course, you have lots of omni-channel tools, etc. But there's still a high weight on that. Still lies on, the digital world. So this module comes to fix that. Let me bring here a little bit of examples of that. So we got some branding, some important brands in the world already making digital campaigns using this hybrid digital and physical worlds. So let me bring you here one that is among all that I saw so far, the one that brought the called more my attention. It was an experiment and a marketing campaign called Heineken Experience. They put together this campaign to promote people in Amsterdam, which is the city that has the Heineken Museum and all the the headquarters is there. So they put together this little bottle, which is a physical object, enabled by having a few sensors, like it has a rotating cap to show what is the direction that people must follow. It has a GPS to allow people to navigate, to know where the bottle is and guide people through the city. It does vibrate in different rhythms to allow people to know when they are approaching hotspots. It does have an accelerometer as well, another sensor, very important to allow the bottle to know that it's in movement. So with all that together, they put together that campaign. And also this interesting video, which I made a summary of it in 15 seconds to show a little bit of how the company, how the brand used the IoT concepts to put together a marketing campaign. Okay, there we go.
No.
That was fast, I know, but this is, just to give you a taste of how the company, how the brand choose to use the IoT concept and the IoT tools to put together this experience. As you saw in the video, that's the IoT feeling, the IoT touch gives you, all the people in that video were young people. So this gives the branding, even though the Heineken is, since, I don't know, it's a centenary company, it has hundreds of years of existence. Still, it can pose as you are, your company, your brand is very young and up to date to nowadays technologies. Okay. All right. So next. The next example, the first example we were speaking were about, showing marketing campaigns. Now let's talk about something that is more a solution, a real solution, not a marketing thing, but still have to do with selling, especially if you are using Sitecore as a e-commerce CMS. So you will have here one example where I'm bringing a low-touch solution to provide enabling, zero touch, no human interactions selling. So here's what I call the smart bookshelf. It is basically an object that has more objects on it, as a shelf with objects on it. The shelf has sensors to allow me, let me go through the points here. So it does have a camera, as you can see, to recognize the face of the person that is in front of this bookshelf, this shelf, to know if he's an old person, or if you can even know if there's a children, if it's an adult, if it's a gentleman or a lady. You can all do that with face recognition. Also, you can detect the mood of the person and react to them. As you can see, there's a monitor here as well. This is how we are giving feedback to the user. And I'm giving like one example, a speech recognition and chatbots can be used in this scenario to allow, the object, the shelf, to speak to the user. Basically, a chatbot can react to, as you know, text chatbot, can be integrated with speech recognition to transform what the person is telling, is speaking, into text to the chatbot, so he can react. So this way you can, the user can have interactions and experiences without even touching anything. There's also some presence sensors to react as, as a customer approaches the shelf. The presence sensor will be, for instance, responsible for triggering an animation on the screen to tell, welcome, this is the smart shelf. Here I have smartphones, headsets, etc. Just like a welcome message. Also, it does have some magnetic light sensors to react when an object is manipulated by the user. So if the object is manipulated, the user can, have on screen some feedback about that object. For instance, this is, a smartphone from the brand X, YZ, etc. Also, we're gonna use here, of course, the rules and artificial based personalization, all personalization that we can, and that Sitecore offers to provide useful info on screen. So if your user is grabbing a smartphone, maybe you have his face, his person, his purchase history. So you can tell, oh, this smartphone is similar to the one that you already own, or this smartphone has been, good. There are some evaluations about done by your friends from your social network. All that we gonna, takes place here. So as you can see, lots of us IoT concepts physical sensors and some artificial intelligence, some things that, some technologies that are already there can be put together for amazing experiences. The other reason for doing this is, you know, because of innovation. Nowadays, there are a lot of channels, a lot of people sharing information about IoT. You know, so if you go to YouTube, for instance, just go there and look for type IoT projects like I did. You're gonna find lots of videos, 15, 30 minutes, 1 hour, more than 1 hour, explaining in details how to put together your IoT project. You know, so your brand might take this, surf this wave, and, you know, and show that you are, you know, on top of all that technology. Some very interesting, you know, projects like I don't know, a homemade internet hub, or a lot of interesting ways to put together motors, you know, and other sensors, but also some very, you know, like here, a smart water tank, you know, with real-time dashboard. That's amazing, but also very useful, like home automation, etc. Door locker, but also some, you know, not so uh, I would say not so useful. There's a channel I found in this process of researching called The Useless Duck Company. It's a channel, they must have more than 1,500K now. These guys are put together very funny IoT projects, you know, like, for instance, they have here a baby burping robot. They have here a talking banana, and this talking banana made a lot of money. If you go and follow the whole history, the story is amazing. He put together this banana speaking 24/7 for a week, and I was streaming that, got banned from Twitch, and that's the banana, you know, got were on fire at some point. You know, all that to tell that, you know, you can be on top of that. Your company can be on top of that. Also, that you know, all those technologies, I still believe it's too early for them. Even though we now have commercial access to all that, I still believe it's in the early stages of that. And because of that, there's a lot of implementations, a lot of use cases that we didn't invent it yet. You know, all that I spoke so far, I am a solution architect. I'm not a marketing specialist, but I believe that marketers can, even with their crazy ideas and dreams, can put together even more interesting experiences and applications and objects and etc. Okay, so those were my reasonings. So why do you need a module like this? So let me show now how it works, okay? Some concepts to understand the module. Let me go through the small pieces here. We start with this hub, okay? The name is IoT Hub. The module uses Azure IoT Hub as a middleware, and Sitecore takes advantages of that, and it will be the hub, you know. And the hub here is just a concept of, just a grouping concept, okay? So a hub can have multiple devices, one or more devices, and the devices are the real object. So you can think on devices as, for instance, a web app, or even a smartphone app, or a physical GPS, or a physical thermometer, etc., etc. So even complex objects, you know, for instance, if you take the smart bookshelf, the smart shelf that I showed previously, that's composed by a lot of objects, right? You have a webcam, you have a monitor, you have the shelves, you have the sensors, but that all can act as a single object as well, if a single device as well, if your architecture needs that. The next is methods. So devices has multiple methods, and the methods you need to imagine them as interaction points. So a hub has a lot of objects. You cannot do anything with the hub itself. It's just a grouping. Devices are the things that we are piloting or reading or writing to, and we do that by methods, by calling the methods that the device is exposing. Okay, so let me give here one example. Imagine that the object is the device is an air conditioner. Okay, the air conditioner will have its methods. So the air conditioner will have 4 methods in this example. It will have a get state, turn on, turn off, and set temperature. So with the get state, we can read how the air conditioner currently is. With turn on, turn off, and set temperature, we can write to the air condition, turning on, off, or changing the temperature. Okay, and next. Okay, and like I said, we hear the Sitecore IoT module is using Azure IoT Hub as a middleware. And let me explain how Azure and Sitecore will be working together here. So the Azure, when I go to Azure, I have to create an account, and there's will be instructions for that on the article that I mentioned in the beginning. But I'll have to create one hub there. When I go to Azure and create that hub, I will go inside Core and create one entry, one item that will be my hub. There's a place for that in the module folder, and you link one to the other by the usage of a connection string. So I have the hub in Azure, a hub in Sitecore, an item, and the item has the connection string for the hub in Azure. For instance, here I'm showing in Azure, there's this Sitecore IoT Hub hub that I created, and in the right you see Sitecore, the Sitecore IoT Hub item. I'm not showing that, but in Sitecore I have the connection string for that. Next will be the device. So in Azure I create under the hub multiple devices, and I will do the same in Sitecore, creating items under the hub. Okay, so again, here 2 examples of devices in Azure: smart display and light sensor, and those are the equivalent in Sitecore. As you can see, under the Sitecore IoT Hub, I will have those devices set up, and they are again linked through a connection string. Okay. All right. Next, very important concept here is the 2 ways to communicate with from Sitecore to the device and vice versa. Okay. The module will take advantage of those 2 ways, and I will start with the device to cloud. So the device to cloud is basically when the IoT device has something to tell. Okay, so the IoT device will send a message to Azure IoT Hub, send that message to Sitecore. The hub is just a hub, and as a good hub, it will just redirect the message back to Sitecore. Okay, and here, it's a device to cloud. You're using this for things like when the device, imagine that the device is a thermometer, and that the temperature just dropped. So now the information, temperature, needs to be updated in Sitecore. So the IoT device will send a device to cloud method call to Sitecore. So Sitecore will have that information. And the cloud to device. The cloud to device is the opposite. When Sitecore needs to know from the device something, or sometimes needs to send a command. Okay, so here, for instance, the Sitecore calls a method in the device. The Azure IoT Hub will just repass that message to the device. The device will have the message and react to that by giving some response back. And the Azure IoT Hub will send that info to Sitecore. So you have the two directions, right? Cloud to device, device to cloud. And by using those two techniques, we are combining that in the module to put together two device method ways, types, okay? I have the one-way device method, which is when the Sitecore has to send a command to IoT device. For instance, in this case, Sitecore is sending a message to device, and that's feasible for write operations. For instance, again, in the air conditioning example, I have here, I'm sending a cloud to device method to turn on or turn off the IoT device, okay? Because you cannot wait, that's more expensive, of course, because it needs to be done like in the execution or runtime, but you can't wait because you must send that info. That's more for write operations. And there's the two ways device method. So the one way is always from Sitecore to the device, and the two ways has a cache in the middle to make the more optimized. So it's more efficient because Sitecore is not requesting the info in the IoT Hub in the IoT device directly. Instead, it will try to first get that information from the cache, from a local cache. So it's very much faster, because the local cache is, in Sitecore itself. Sitecore, or the device actually, will keep a device to cloud method updating the cache. So every time the cache, the info changes in the device will send that information to update the cache as well. And by the way, that we also doesn't need to be in real time, because doesn't matter if it takes 1 or 2 seconds more to know if a temperature changes, right? And if in case the cache is empty, Sitecore will send a cloud to device call to get that method value, and of course saving the cache. It's a little bit more complex, but this is feasible to read operations. For instance, when I try to read the temperature, and imagine that you are doing Sitecore personalization, right? Sitecore personalization is very common to have multiple conditions, right? So if your condition is sending a message to the IoT device, I cannot query, it will be executed multiple times when the page loads. I cannot query the device every time. That's why a two-way device method, it's more feasible for this situation. All right. Okay, so those are the concepts. And now let me go through what can it do, okay? The features that are existing already in the module, and also the features that we plan for future, okay? Let me start, of course, with what we already have in place. Personalization rules, I just mentioned about that. So those are rules that comes with the module. As soon as you install the module, you will be able to start using them to personalize. And those rules, those conditions will enable you to call a method in the device and also do something with the result. Okay, so you have here on screen those informations, those two conditions. And, down below here, you have the rule. And the rule can, as you can read, it's telling where calling the device smart display, which is my device, the method get selected object, and sending no payload will return the string property, the property current object is case sensitively equals to tablet 1. So here I have the rule, the condition itself is mentioned, the device, the method that I'm calling, whether or not I'm sending a payload, what's the property that I want to query against, the condition itself, the comparison, in this case, can is sensitively equal to, tablet 1 is the value that I want to match. So by doing that, you can read in real time or using the two ways. In this case, we're using the two ways direction, the method. You know, doing your personalization in Sitecore with traditional rules-based personalization. Here you have one screenshot, and just to show that you can select the devices visually. You know, you can select the method that you're gonna call visually as well. That's all, you know, in the module. Here is one example of the rules in the personalization setup. I'm just setting, you know, if it's tablet 1, the content will be, the data source item will be that. Okay, that was personalization. Next, very important as well, Sitecore Forms. So the module comes with a lot of features to enable you to build forms that can query IoT devices. In this case, we'll start with a value provider. Okay, value provider in Sitecore Forms, for those that don't know, is a way to enable you to load the form with some data already in the fields. So there's a value provider that enables you to fill that field with info taken from the devices. Okay, here you have the air condition form. There's a field called temperature. And when you select the field, you have the ability to select the value provider, get value from IoT device, which comes with the module. And using that, you're gonna have a few parameters here that you have all that info in the documentation. But those are to set up, again, the method that you wanna call, the device that you wanna call, the payload that you wanna pass, etc., etc. And then the info will show in the form. Here is two examples, you know, of forms that, you know, the temperature 25 and the room temperature 30. Those are taken from two different devices, an air condition and a thermometer. And next, Sitecore Forms is still submit actions. Those are, you know, that ways to enable you to react to a button press. So the module brings you this execute IoT method that is an action to call an IoT method. So as you click in the button and you select that action, you can, you know, configure the action. Here, as you can see, you are visually being able to select the method, the device that you want to call, the method from that device, the payload that you want to pass, and then, you know, that you can send information from the form to the IoT device, basically enabling Sitecore Forms to read and write to and from IoT devices. Okay. Last but not least, there is also a development API with the Nugget packages are to come, yet to come. But the API enables developers to easily, you know, put together with a few lines, get data from IoT devices and save data to IoT devices as well. You have here in the first 3 lines, you know, I'm just getting the device and the method. So I have the method here to invoke, and I'm having the results here, and I'll be able to get the value of a certain property. And here in the last 2 lines, I'm doing that with dynamic variables. So you can select, you know, choose the variables directly instead of using get value, which is more low level. So yeah, so everything, the whole API is well documented, and we're going through constant reviews of the API to make it even more easier, but still easy enough nowadays. Sitecore Pipelines, the whole module was put together, you know, by using the concept, the best, you know, practices of Sitecore development. And of course, we have pipelines because this is Sitecore XP. Those pipelines enable your team to extend the module and do things when something happens in the module. So you don't need to recompile the module. You can put together your assemblies and assign to these pipelines. The first is invoke method, which happens when a method is invoked in a cloud to device way. Okay, so when Sitecore is sending a message to the device, there's a pipeline that you can extend to react to that message received. This happens when a device to cloud message is received from the device in the Sitecore application. And that's as well a pipeline that you can extend. So those pipelines are, just extendable with patches like you do usually in Sitecore. Of course, make sure to not remove those native ones, otherwise the module won't work. And we also put together, and it's there for you, some sample IoT devices, because the device itself doesn't need to be a physical object. You can start, and actually the whole brain of the devices will be software, right? So we have a lot of examples of devices that we're putting together. Those are all available on the Git that is also present in the article that I mentioned before. And we have those devices. So smart display, it's again the display, the shelf that I showed in the beginning. I put together this fully functional virtual display that enables you to see how the thing works and the communication. Also, there's a log, so you can see all that happen. Again, in pairs here, thermometer and air conditioning. We have command prompts applications showing how you can implement a temperature sensor, a real air condition being simulated in command prompt. It will respond as an actual one, but will be a virtual one. Hygrometer, which is humidity sensor to enable you to measure the humidity of the environment, and a grass watering, which is keeps the grass always green. So as you can predict, we are trying to build cases where I'm using the sensor to do something in reaction. So if the thermometer shows the temperature is too high, I can turn on the air condition. If the hygrometer shows the grass is dry, I can turn on the grass watering. If the light sensors, which is like intensity of light, shows it's too dark, I can turn on the garden lights, in the lights control. So those are all examples that you can find. Those examples are, all again documented and commented out. Those are fully functional ones, but again, no physical devices yet, but nothing is blocking you from compiling and upping this to a physical object. And for future, so what we plan for future, what we have in mind for the next releases. First is Sitecore PowerShell extensions. I think that, remember I spoke about the API that developers can use. We must provide that for PowerShell developers as well, because it's so, easy to put together PowerShell scripts, because everybody's using PowerShell nowadays with Sitecore. And because I love PowerShell, never mind. That's the biggest reason. Marketing automation. So I will expand the module. Actually, Niche Tech will expand the module with marketing automations, tools to enable marketing teams to create campaigns, automation campaigns to react to IoT devices. So we're going to put together listeners to listen to devices, marketing actions to react to when listeners are triggered, etc. Those will be very important for campaigns. And whatever you have in mind, let me know, okay? Let Niche Tech knows, let Sitecore Singer know. let Suresh Devan know, let our team know, because we're keen to expand here with more features in the future. Where can you get it? Okay, you can see everything in this link. Okay, again, it's if you don't want to write down or take note of the link, go to the Niche Tech website, nichetechinc.com/blog, and find in the list. But it's a post from October, the only one speaking about IoT Hub recently. Okay, cool. So let me go to some demo. Okay. So I want to show you this. So this is the demo for the smart display. Okay. Remember how the smart display is. I will just bring it, the functional one. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, folks, sorry for the delay. So here is the device, the physical, the virtual device, and it is right now in communication with my Sitecore instance here, okay? I would like you to imagine that the Sitecore instance, what you see here on Sitecore, would be what the user will see on this screen, okay? So I will just demonstrate that. Let me close this a little bit. Right, and the user goes and pick a product. I will pick a product here. I just picked this smartphone. As you can see, Sitecore reacts to that, showing information on screen. This is iPhone 9, blah, blah, blah. I go and pick another one. I will pick this tablet. As you can see in the logs, the info is sent to Sitecore, and Sitecore reacts with this Galaxy Tab A, showing more info. I'll click in the, headset, same thing. It will react. Okay, so this is the smart display. Of course, this is not doing the face recognitions yet, but as you can see, the proof of concept is there. It quite works well in a feasible time. So you can have your Sitecore marketed team, putting together things like that easily with this module. Another one is, okay. Yeah, so I need to start a little bit more. I will start here the thermometer, which, as I told you, it's a command prompt application. Temperature is 31, and I will start the air condition as well. Okay, it's not enabled. 24, I will refresh here. As you can see, 31 is the temperature. If I change the temperature in the thermometer like 45 degrees, that info is being submitted to Sitecore. I refresh Sitecore, I will see 45, okay? I can also send info. For instance, I will turn on the air condition, turn on. Okay, as you can see, the air conditioner reacted, and now it's enabled. I will turn off again. Yeah. demo gods, you know. But I bet you got the point already. Yeah, there you go. Okay, it was just hot. Fine. Right. So as you can see here, I showed, you know, this is being done with personalization. This is being done with the Sitecore Forms, the two biggest features in this release. And that finishes the demo. I would like to open. We have 5 minutes for questions. So feel free to bring up your questions. Raise up your hands, please. And I'll unmute you immediately. Everybody knows plenty well about IoT devices and IoT Hub, etc.
Hey, Rodrigo.
Edipo, I will unmute you, man.
Hey, man.
Hi, Edipo.
Hey, how are you, man?
Long time not see you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice
Cool.
mustache, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. We need to drink some beer sometime
Oh, yeah.
after this COVID stuff, right? So, yeah, basically I have two questions. One is which versions of Sitecore you are thinking to that you do work?
It works with Sitecore 10 and 9.3, so the last higher versions.
That's good. And the second question is about are you thinking some integration with maybe, I don't know exactly how, but some integration with Google Home or maybe Alexa or something like that, like some hardware stuff.
That's a great question. You can already do it. Okay, the module itself it's meant to be a framework to enable your dev team and your marketing team to put together your use cases. So that's plenty doable. By the way, there are already in the marketing some Azure IoT Hub compatible devices that you can buy. Google it, you know, Azure IoT device, Azure IoT Hub compatible devices, and you can have some devices, you know, that you can buy. Those are already compatible with the IoT Hub and will be plug and play in this case. Or of course you can, you know, in the case of Alexa and the helpers, the assistant that you mentioned, we need of course to make a translation between the Alexa way of I don't know how that works, to be honest, but the Alexa way of reading and writing data and send that info to the hub, you know?
Yeah, I know that Google Home has some kind of API, but for the Alexa, I don't know too. Anyways, I think that's a great model. I just was thinking some stuff that we could integrate to grab some data into Sitecore, like, for example, some e-commerce that use the mobile camera and can grab the how the people are feeling seeing the product or something like that on the e-commerce site, right?
Exactly. That's very interesting. And I'll also mention that with the COVID thing, the need for low touch solutions is high, is peaking. So those are the tools that we need to put together, you know, whatever the marketers have crazy dreams that they have, you know. So the smart shelf that I showed, the smart display, is just one example of it's a shelf, it's a display that the user, it's basically self-service, right? Solutions like that will be much more common in the future, I guess.